We are kind of just watching and recording our progress as we build our own home on our property in Tennessee. And this all started, well, the deep story, it started probably a year ago, but a job led us to this area, and we were living in the DFW suburbs, and we really kind of wanted to get out of a more constricted area. We wanted more property. And at the time, we weren't looking for 8 acres necessarily, just a bigger yard, and even just living in an area where you could go to go hiking and it not be a huge trip and driving way out of the city. So short story, we wanted out of the city a little bit more. And also possibly a little further north. Those Texas summers were not our favorite thing. So at a time when everyone was and is moving to Texas, we decided to move away. And we looked at jobs in different areas around the country and ended up landing in East Tennessee.
Beautiful East Tennessee.
Yeah, which is actually similar to the area where we went to college and met and fell in love. Oh. So maybe it's a connection there. Anyway, so we ended up moving here and looked at houses, looked at rentals, ended up in a camper, and we've been here 6 months now, and we just moved on to our land. So we are going to do a quick recap here about what we've learned and what's ahead for us.
So this is our 6-month update in review of Suburban gone wild. But a few things as far as the property and construction, things like that. We were really held up with the very first thing that had to happen, which was doing the driveway, because nothing else could get done until we carved an access road to get out here for utilities, septic, water, the well, everything was on hold until we had a driveway here, including us. It was really hard to even get out here to have a campfire, to have fun, or whatever. And so we spent a lot of time just waiting on the contractor. We priced it out with a few other contractors that were just too expensive. So maybe that was on us, our fault for going the cheap route. But so that took forever. Once that was done, things started rolling. I think the best advice I could give is to don't get so hung up on your timeline, your schedule goals, but instead just be prepared to do anything at any given time. Like if you have an opening, a free weekend or a free evening, get busy with it so you can tell yourself at the end of this thing, hey, we did everything in our power to get this thing done as fast as possible and on budget. Because between slow and bad contractors to weather to all these different things, it kind of just shoots it out of the water. I think it's a little easier to manage a timeline when you have contractors working for you, but when you are the sole person doing it,
and you're working other jobs, you got kids and things like that, you gotta roll the punches. Sometimes a kid's sick and you can't work that day, or again, it's raining or something crazy. So don't beat yourself up if you're not hitting your timelines, but be prepared to work. That's been a key thing too for me, is realizing when you can't work, don't just sit and be frustrated about it. Don't waste that time. Use that time to just enjoy being with your family. We've done fun things with the kids on rainy weekends or something like that, and it's easy to really get frustrated. But we've also looked at, well, in a couple months, we're going to be really busy and not be able to do these fun things because we're going to have so much work to do. So you kind of have to sit back and say, okay, let's enjoy not having to work in some ways, which is hard, but you kind of just have to learn to take advantage of every moment. If it's not a moment to work, then what is it for? And it might just be time investing in your family and focusing on those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So land-wise, if someone's looking at buying property, doing something like this, what is some advice that you would give?
Man, we had an awesome situation kind of fall into our lap, but if I were to tell someone, you should try to find this exact same awesome situation where you get to be friends with the owner and all this stuff, I don't know how easy that is out there to try to find that. Yeah. I feel like we are extremely lucky that we came across this gentleman that sold us this property has been nothing but another set of grandparents to us and our kiddos. Has helped us with things, and it's pretty awesome.
Well, there's other things too I think of that haven't been a problem for us, but I feel like could be a problem. Could have been, rather. Especially with land development. I feel like there's so many issues you can run into. So I would just do your homework on a lot of those things. Like, I've heard of people having, drilling a well and then it tastes horrible like sulfur. Or even in our case, we were looking at 2 different properties from the same owner. One had a beautiful view, had county water right there, had electricity hooked up, but it just wasn't very suitable for our kids. So we picked this property, but it had a lot more development to do. So the other one was more expensive, but it had more development already done. This one was cheaper, but we had to do the development. So that's something just to think about math-wise, because you might see a property that costs more, but it might have those things done. It might already have an access driveway, might already have water, might have, easy electricity. So all those things add up. So I think it's kind of, do you want to do the work? Do you want to pay for it now? Or would you rather just pay more on, if you're doing a mortgage or you're putting all your money down there? So that's something to think about. I think I'm still okay with the decision we made for sure, because we love this property, but it's something to think about as far as that. I
think it too, like a lot of times you think of, or I thought of, like, you buy the property, and then you pay for the house. Like, you don't think about all the the development she's talking about, right? I started getting really nervous when we even started looking into getting the driveway cut in. Mm-hmm. Something I really didn't consider how much that was going to cost, and I was getting numbers like $25,000. What?
Yeah.
And so luckily we didn't have to pay that much, but it did cost a lot, and it was something that when you're out there, in dreamland, and you're like, oh, this could be so beautiful. You don't think that, oh yeah, just a simple driveway is going to cost however much money. It's going to cost a lot. So I would say that's the one thing I didn't quite do all the homework on. I knew it would cost a little bit of money, but the development has been a lot. Yeah.
And that's hard. That's especially if you're looking to move in another state or anything like that. I mean, that's going to vary so much as far as where you are, and even with where you are, like I said earlier, what piece of land you choose. I think we've spent probably about $25,000 so far just on development. Majority of that being cutting in the driveway and the well. And then a lot of miscellaneous things with that. But that's before, technically the driveway, he did come up and flatten out our house area. So that was in there, but that was not an expensive part of it.
So a few things from my opinion I've noticed is, first of all, camper living has eaten a ton of resources up by fixing things and trying to keep comfortable and warm and hot and keep water from leaking and things like that, and ants and stuff like that.
Hotels, when there's tornado warnings,
one,
and watching. Do you think it's still better affordable wise than rent?
I'm sure it is, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like we have to throw money here and there, but I'm sure it's still better.
I guess it depends on how much we get out of it if we sell it too.
Yeah.
Because you don't have that option with an apartment. And even as we've sat down and we talk about the struggles of it, it's hard to see another situation that would be better. Because we've talked about it, even if we were renting, well, then you're living somewhere and you're traveling to the property and you're doing that. Whereas now we're right here living on the property building. And that's optimal for us right now. And it's worth it. It hasn't always seemed worth it in the past 6 months because we weren't living here. But it seems more worth it now, I think.
You just gotta remind yourself, people did this like hundreds of years ago. Lived in wagons and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah.
Slept by campfires.
Way worse than what we were doing.
So
we don't have it rough by any means.
It's all your point of view, right?
For sure. Okay, now, obviously we know that...
sun's setting. Hurry up. Let's get shot in.
Obviously, we know that this can change, but what do you think the next 6 months will look like for us? Where are we at right now, and what do the next few months look like?
Like I said before, I don't want to bog myself down with trying to hit timelines. I want to work when we can work and push ourselves when we can push ourselves. If there's a good Saturday or Sunday, get out there and work and get the job done. When we first started this thing, we said that we wanted to be under some type of real roof by next winter. By no means would the house be completely finished and even furnished, or all the appliances installed and working, and all the whatever.
Basically, 2 bedrooms and a bathroom.
Yeah,
was the hope.
Yeah, which I am still hopeful for, and I still want to work towards that. And if it means I got to work every Saturday until then and Sunday, then let's do it. But so many things could throw a wrench in that, and so that's where, again, I'm trying not to get so caught up as to gotta have the framing done by this date, and gotta have the windows in by this date, but
as soon as you set a timeline, it's gonna get
and then you get discouraged and stuff like that. So I'm just right now at the point of just, again, let's just dig down deep and work when we can work, and know that we gave it our best. And if we don't hit a timeline and we're not under a roof by winter time, you know what? It's okay.
We know we can survive winter.
Be okay.
So. Yeah, it's much more of a lifestyle, I feel like, now, of just every day you're working, and especially now that we're here, we're having good weather, we're moving into summer. It's just kind of that nose to the grindstone. Okay, we're just, anytime we have great days, unless we're just not feeling great, and it's, we know it's not good for us or the kids, we're going to be working, we're going to be doing projects. He's doing 4 days a week at work now, 4 10s, so that gives us an extra weekend day. So we're trying to take advantage of that. But again, we'll see what happens, but it's just going to be a work summer, and we'll see how the progress goes. And the big question everyone's asking us, and again, I kind of feel like I'm interviewing you, like this is an Oprah sit down or something, although I haven't really asked you about your feelings yet.
You don't do that.
The big question always is, in the summer of 2021, is how are you progressing as far as prices? With everything getting pricier, and they're saying it's not going to go down or it could go up, especially with lumber and lumber shortages and everything basically being more expensive. What's your philosophy on that? What's your plan? A lot of people have asked us, are we going to wait? Are we going to buy ahead? Are we going to,
Let me change positions after this.
Have you found a leprechaun with a pot of gold?
That's all here. No, if you know me by any means, you know that
you like to spend money?
Do you think? Obviously, a lot of people are holding off. They're waiting. I'm not really the type to do that either. I don't want to wait. I don't want to spend another night in that camper that I don't have to. And so I think we've decided to push on through, and
kind of one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm not planning on ordering all the building materials all at once to lock in a price. I think we're just going to buy as we go, as we need it, and try to make sense with delivery fees, and get lumber for doing the foundation forms when we need it, and then when the foundation is in, we can start on the exterior walls, lumber, and then interior walls, and then sheathing, and we can work up from there. But it's just my personality, just to power through it and bite the bullet and pay the extra money. We've received however much money from the government, and so that's a huge help. So again, we get money and we got to pay extra money. We got a bill, then we get a check in from some of the companies. So it always flushes out in the end.
And what everyone has told us too, when they hear what we're saying, is they're always like, "Oh, you're going to save so much money by doing the work yourself." Yeah. And that's one way that we will save. Is that, the only thing we've so far contracted out is the driveway, I think, right?
I think so.
That's the only thing so far, and I don't think we have anything huge planned in the future either that we're going to be contracting out. I guess the concrete pour would be the next thing that we'll be hiring someone to help us with. But other than that, we're hoping to save in that area. So that's what we've got going on in the next few months. So we'll see how it all looks.
Gotta finish septic, get the foundation ready to be poured, and we can start framing. Okay.